Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your good friend, Midnight. And today I am joined with a guest. His name is John Di Gregorio. We have together gone and fought a war with Conor McGregor. With William Wallace at our sides, we fought with our swords in hand and we took on the Banshees of Inisherin. John, introduce yourself, mate.
I am from Movie Lovers Unite, and I'm not going to attempt the Irish accent. But and I cannot top that. I cannot top that at all.
We do
But
the best.
I'm from Movie Lovers Unite, and I'm a movie review channel and a podcast. So yeah, go on ahead, check me out. I actually do trailer reactions, TV reviews, stuff like that, and time to time some horrible skits. So there you go.
He, he does very good skits. It's one of the greatest edits I've ever seen. Tuco Salamanca versus Thanos himself. Go on his TikTok and find that. It's one of the greatest videos the internet
Thank you.
does not deserve. It's phenomenal. Editing took,
Thank you.
you said 7 hours it took?
It took 7 hours because of the three different softwares I had to use.
Good
And they were
Lord.
all free software, so that's why you see like a water print on there because of that. But other than that, yeah.
Jeez. Well, wow. See, that's skill. I want to be able to get there. I really want
After
to be
that, I
able
was like, I'm done.
Well,
But
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Yeah, glad to be here. My good friend John, who I have met through this YouTube space, he's been a mentor, a great friend, hello talk, um, and just an all around great sport. So, we're going to dive into this movie, discussing the Banshees of Inisherin, which is getting a lot of award acclaim right now. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson. Um, it's Martin McDonogh, right? Is
yeah,
McDonogh? Okay, had to be sure.
which is Mad Eye Moody. That's all. So
Hey, you know what? I almost forgot something. You never start off a show without an intro. I mean, we had an intro, but we didn't have an intro. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the intro. Well, while that was going on, I was counting the gold at the end of the rainbow. And now, without further ado, let's get into the movie.
boy,
So,
let's do it.
John, before we go into our full spoilers, tell me, what are your overall thoughts on the movie, Banshees of Inisherin?
Okay, so going into it, I didn't know what to expect at all because I didn't even know what the plot point or anything like that was. I didn't even look at the trailer. I just went straight into it without even realizing what the plot is or anything like that. And of course, I remember I worked 8 hours out of the day, so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to give Banshees of Inisherin a couple of give my values of watch time, right? I conked out, not because it was boring or anything like that, because of the fact that my work schedule made me tired. You know, it was just tired.
I
But
felt it.
then I focused in on it on the weekend, and I really love this movie. You actually have the relationship and everything between Patrick, I think that's his name.
Yep, Patrick Sullivan.
Yeah, between him, and you're wondering why Colin is not wanting to be friends with him, and that's the whole plot. That's the whole plot setup of someone not wanting to be somebody else's friend, and the limits that that friend will go to show that he doesn't want to be friends with somebody. And it has this grumpy old men kind of vibe to it, but mixed with an Ireland kind of way of thinking about it if you want, but it kind of drastic. That's how I actually introduced the plot point to it. I said, think of grumpy old men if they were Irish,
Angry
and if it
whiskey
was
and alcohol.
right. But you know what else I liked about this though, man, was the fact that while these two men are having their beef war, there's actually a war happening within their own walls. So this is actually during the Civil War, during the Irish Civil War.
Mhm.
And that's something I really liked was, okay, so you're having a battle out on the battlefield while this is happening and they're having a battle over here. And you're wondering, okay, so who's going to win out of this thing? And is like, for instance, are the two friends are going to make amends to the where the war is going to be over for a little bit? Or is it just going to keep on going? But I like how as the war that they were fighting for keeps on going, just as the war with them keeps on going throughout this film. So I definitely like that aspect to it.
Yeah, this was a very. When I first heard the concept for this movie, I said I have to see this, because it's so simple and yet not too many people think about it regularly. What if your best friend turned around and said to you, "I just don't want to be friends with you anymore because I don't like you, because I think you're dull. I think you're a dull bastard, and I want to live the rest of my life feeling like my life matters." But it's like, but it begs the question though: how can you not? How is it that one can feel as though you losing your best friend um, could pretty much ruin whatever legacy you're trying to accomplish? Why
Right.
not think that your best friend would be trying to support you or uplift you so you can get there or talk about it? But I think that's another thing that this movie touches on is, and it's watch this. When I did my first initial trailer reaction, an Irishman actually spoke to me in the comments. And he said that there was someone who he was going through some problems. And I believe he committed suicide. They found his body on near some cliffs by the water. And what he was saying was that a lot of Irishmen or people not just don't discuss their problems, or even just men in general, not talking about their issues. And so throughout the movie, we see, well, Padre is trying to ask Calma, what's going on with you? You're not explaining this. And, soon as we find out it more than likely was depression, but he just did not want to express it to him. So rather than expressing it to his friend, it's like, I'll just swallow it, no problem, keep it down, bury myself in something else and never address it. But that's the thing. If it's not addressed, it spills over into this war that they had on top of something like a small issue like that, like the Irish Civil War going on in the background. Probably a small spat. I don't know the history behind it, but it boiled over into the Civil War that it was. So I think it's very
So,
unique in that way.
I think so too. The thing that I really like about it was it goes into that, like you said, it's very self-aware of like what would you do if your friend tells you that you don't want to be friends with them anymore? Then you're going through the whole entire anxieties. Did I do something wrong? Did I piss him off? Did I say something that he did not want? So that was something that I really have to say that I really
All good? I think like your mic got a little low, bro.
there we go.
All right.
I don't know why I did that. Okay. So the thing that I have to say that I liked about it was this. Okay. So it's very self aware of the fact that, goes through the anxiety of the fact, what would you do if your friend told you that you're not going to be your friend anymore? And you're going through all this anxiety. It's just like how Patrick would be going through. Did I do
Yep.
something wrong? Did I piss you off? What did I say when I was drunk? And then going into all these whole entire anxieties because you're doing some self examination of wondering what did I do, and then it could be nothing. Maybe you didn't do anything wrong,
All right.
and that's exactly the situation here. When we goes over to him, and he says, "Look, what did I do? What is it because of X, Y, and Z?" And he's like, "No, it's just that I find you boring. I don't want to be friends with you anymore."
But I find
Maybe
that
it's
so
practically-
strange.
Huh?
I find that so strange though because it's like Calm went out of his way to pretty much, like what you just said when he told Padre, I just don't like it anymore. Why is it so much easier for you to drop your very good friend than talk about the issue at hand and what you're dealing with? Like it's almost like with Dominic's character, right? We don't know much about him, but we can tell because the way he acts, something just a little bit off about him. He's awkward. He's a little strange, but he's got some abuse going on at home. But he's not outright discussing it. I mean, it's more so that it's shown because it's a small island and a lot of people kind of know what's going on amongst people. Like the lady in the store, and she kept
Right.
saying, so "What's the news? Or what's going on here?" And Padre or Colin Farrell's character just goes in about the police officer who happens to be Dominic's dad and all the abuse that he's undergoing. I think that I just like the challenging questions that it asks. Like why are we the way we are, and why can't we talk about the problems that we have?
Exactly, because I think here's the thing. I would want someone to be there for me, but there's also some people who are like, you know what? I want to be the tough one too, where basically, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be the tough one to not let everybody show that my emotions or anything like that either. So
Mhm.
therefore, I don't want anyone to be there for me. And it could also just be the fact that he just doesn't want to be around this person anymore without any reason either. Too, because there's people that people cut off all the time, and they don't give them a valid answer as to why they cut that person off
Right. Oh,
either.
that's very true.
So it could be just the fact that times are changing; they're not the same person who they once were,
Mhm.
and they don't have anything in common anymore.
That's a fair point. But it's like, and Podrick showed no signs of it either.
No,
I
it
feel like he was
doesn't.
just passing something like he was passed the blame. Like I really don't want to sit down and have a shrink stare at me and ask me questions about what's going on. I'll just say, hey, you're dull. I don't like you. Take your pint somewhere else and leave me alone. Like that. That's calms home mindset. Let me play my music and all. I want to ask you about like, did you find the dark? Did you find the dark humor pretty funny in this?
I love the dark humor. The dark humor landed for me,
Yeah.
especially whenever he cuts off his. When you see him cuts off his thumb, he goes, "Well, I guess he was serious then." And
He just throws them at the door, just leaving prints.
but he also plays the violin with no hands.
None.
He's bleeding. The
Same.
dude's bleeding.
Oh my god! When he first cut off his thumb, and his dog started licking it. So well, there's an infection waiting to happen. Just open wounds. Don't know where this dog's mouth has been, and boom, just looking where your thumb has gotten cut off. If you get gangrene, I mean that's on you, Carl. Um, you know, I think another. I did find the scene in the store. Talking about the news and everything that was going on. I thought that was funny. She was trying to not give him what he had bought. While he's still talking, like, can you just give me what I paid for so I can leave? And she's just still talking and talking and talking, not passing it across the counter. That just the scene with them in the bar. What do you say? Pudgy fingers.
My other favorite part was my other favorite part was like my pint's there, and you call him not call him, but you wind up seeing him move his drink somewhere else. He goes, "Well, you can drink somewhere else," and then the bartender goes, "Well, his pint's there." It's like
The bartender is an unsung hero. Oh man, because like they're in the beginning, I like that dialogue, the back and forth that Podrick and John Joe had with each other. It was just so quick, witty, back and forth, and so simple, but yet still so entertaining. I think that speaks highly of Martin McDonogh. And he's known for his dark comedy too. I mean, he did with Three Billboards. I didn't see In Bruges.
me
Um,
either.
okay,
But
yeah,
the dark. Here's the thing: I'm a fan of dark comedy as long as it works
yeah,
with the humor, because I've seen a lot of dark comedies before, and the comedy just does not land. I'm just sitting there like I'm supposed to be laughing at some point, but I'm not laughing.
yeah.
With this one, my wife and I are just cutting up laughing because of the banter between the two of them.
Hmm.
Especially when Colin goes on ahead, gets beat up by the son's father, who happens to be a cop, and he's
Yeah,
over there crying. And then you're thinking that these two are actually going to patch things up. And then what happens? His friend hands Colin the horse carriage straps to go on ahead and put him back home. I'm like, what?
won't even take your own friend home after an event like that. It's crazy. And I love that. I love. J- I really like Barry Keegan's character. I really like his character.
Me too.
I don't know if it was just in the way he talked that I found somewhat humorous, but he just had the childlike nature to him in the seriousness of this whole situation. But it was almost like his character was Tears of a Clown, because yeah, while we find him very likable, he's going through some stuff, and even trying to win the heart of his sister.
which is also half his age, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I know this is like 1923, and I know that customs are different than us, but even she acknowledges the fact that she's too old for him. And
Yeah,
even when he gets older, she gets older. Therefore, by then, she's a senior citizen. So,
it's just gonna be weird. It's like
right,
just dating. I don't know. I don't want to say Betty White, rest in peace, but
right.
kind of like dating that older woman, and I guess he's gonna expect her to take care of him when she becomes a teacher overseas at some point, maybe. Um, who knows? But I do you think, speaking of Dominic, um, when the slip in, the part where we see the what was her name, Mrs. McDormand?
Yeah, Mrs. McDormand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, fun fact. I looked this up. So, banshees are like Irish witches, and they. So what happened in the movie when we see when she predicted what was going on, and there will be two deaths that happened, and um, I don't remember what else she said in the prophecy, like off the top of my head, but she made a prophetic claim that there will be two deaths that occur, and one being Jenny, a miniature donkey. Love her so much. And then Dominic.
And the donkey's been through this whole entire thing, through the whole entire movie. Is like, and then her, even the sister's like, "Would you get your donkey out of the house?"
Like, no,
And
it's leaving straw everywhere.
but I like. Here's the thing: I love the sister though. The sister to me is my favorite character out of this, especially with Colum,
Hmm.
because she's trying to be there for Colum and everything. And I like how she goes ahead and she just goes up to him and goes, "Why would you tell my brother that you don't like him anymore?" Well, I find him boring. He goes, "You're all boring.
Like, it's only so
None
many
of you
people
men
you
do
ever
anything."
like. Right?
And I like how she calls him out on it. He goes, "Well, I just find them boring." And just that's it.
But you're right, and it works so well because like somebody needed to call him on his BS for it. Like, why are you chill out, call him? Just
Right?
relax, man. This
Because
is a good friend.
and here's the thing, I love the brother and sister relationship. You can actually tell that she's there for him
Yeah.
and wanting to stand up to his friend for treating him like garbage. And then I also like how there's this boundary that Colum crosses because remember he goes, "I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice," and then he goes into being a sleazeball because he got jealous of the friendship that his friend has and tells
Oh
the
yeah.
new friend that his dad's dying. And then he tells the other kid that's getting beat up by the cop son, and goes, "Yeah, I just told him that his father is dying and gonna be on his death." He goes, "That was quite a harsh thing that you did." He goes, "Not really. Imagine what he's gonna be like when he finds out that his father's not dying." I'm
Man,
like,
crying, man.
dude, you just basically were hypocritical to your own friend in the way he was treating you, and you were a good person. Then you went and did something just as despicable as your friend did,
Mhm.
10 times worse because he made up the fact that someone's dad is dying. Then that character about you saying that you're a good person? No, you're not a good person anymore. That's gone.
Two wrongs do not make a right.
No.
No. But I think, but that's where his character turned too, because it's like Colin was the hostile one the entire time, but because of Colin being how he was, Patrick decides, okay, I'm going to up the ante on my aggression here. And when it really gets serious after all the fingers are gone, and we don't see Jenny for a while, and we're like, where's Jenny? Jenny got a hold of one of Colum's Shrek-like sausage fingers, choked and died. and that's what set Podrick off. Like, okay,
Yep.
you know what?
And
I'll burn your
okay,
house.
right. And he tells him the time that he's going to do it too.
Mhm.
And he says, "I hope that you're inside your house at that time." And here, I'm like, dude, that is like straight up gangster. And they don't even do anything to him either. It's like, is the cop going to come over there to arrest him? It's like, oh, it's just Ireland. It's just him sitting. This is what we do here.
They throw potatoes at each other and set fires on people's houses.
It's like, hey, did you know Colm set up the fire? This is what we do here in Ireland. It'll be all right.
You know, he started playing. Look who started the fight.
It reminds me of the Billy Joel song, Who Started the Fire?
It could have been St. Elmo's fire.
Oh my god.
Bravo.
But dude.
Oh man, nah, that was. You know what? Did you also think that he might have went after the dog?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The dog had nothing to do with it because if you remember, Colin loved the dog. He said, remember this. He said, I have no qualms with the dog. I love your dog. It's you that. Right.
Yeah.
Because the dog didn't do anything to him. So he ended up taking the dog with him. So he sets the house on fire, takes the dog. I'll tell you what, when you have friends that are that dedicated to wanting to be your friend, to want to set your house on fire, you need to be friends with that person still.
Come on now. That is true dedication right there.
I can just see State Farm like, what happened over here? Well, my friend set my house on fire. And then I can see them investigating. And then he'd go over to the bartender. Did you know about it? Yep, I was here at the bar. He had his pint right there. And he said at 3 o'clock he was going to set his house on fire.
Yep.
So was it arson? But yeah.
You tell me. The firebenders came to play. I mean,
right.
Oh, man. The cinematography, too, John. I mean, honestly. See, here's the thing about movies, right? And I know this is watching Yellowstone. I have a desire to go to Montana.
Open up your own ranch.
Oh yeah, exactly. Have my own ranch and defend it from fierce government agents and corrupt businessmen. I think like cinematography is so important, and because it immerses you in that world, and that's why I appreciate. It's another reason why I appreciate this movie so much because of that cinematography. So much luscious green grasses, the coastline, the water. It's just like this place is beautiful. Who would not want to go here? You know? I mean,
well, the shots that I like was the opening sequences where you actually see what Ireland looks like, and the cinematography, like you mentioned, it's actually fantastic. It makes me want to go and get a passport and go to Ireland.
Seriously. I mean, do you see this getting a nomination for Best Cinematography?
I can see it being Best Cinematography, but as far as Best Picture goes, there's a lot more films out there, I feel like, that are deserving in that spot. And I don't even put Babylon on that same spot either.
Have you seen it yet?
Not yet, but I'm just saying from just a standpoint, from the trailer standpoint and stuff like that. I know there's a difference between watching a trailer and seeing the movie. But even with that, I'm like, well, we've seen that with... we've seen a movie like that before with Leonardo DiCaprio with The Wolf of Wall Street, stuff like that in that kind of space. And it's like, okay, that didn't get nominated because of the fact that it was too much publicity with it, negative and stuff like that. With this one, with Babylon, I can see it just being like an average movie, and this one has best cinematography, good actors in it. Great dialogue. I could see maybe someone winning best screenplay for this, probably.
Oh yeah, I could see that. This could definitely be a best original screenplay winner.
But as far as best picture qualified, no. And everybody's like, "What? You're serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "There's other films. This is like the World Series. The Oscars is like the World Series. There's always going to be another person that's actually bigger and better than the other team. You just have." So you have to go into it not going on your expectations, but going on the expectations of what the other films were, because you might not have seen it. You only saw one film out of the 6 or 7 films that were nominated.
Yeah.
So,
No, you're absolutely right. Because even
but
last year's Oscars, I didn't see all the movies that came out that year. But I completely agree.
I saw just about maybe 5 movies, 5 or 6 movies last year out of the Oscars
Mm.
because of streaming services. But what I want, my favorite part, my other favorite part in this movie, though, man, is the part where even the priest knows about their beef too, because he goes, You're not friends with Colum anymore? Why aren't you friends with Colum?" He goes, "How do you know about that?"
They all know it's a small island. You know, it's just like it's. I really want to know. I wish they mentioned it. What's the population of that island? Like, truthfully,
It's
like,
small.
if you could take
It's
a guess, any number, what's your
I'd
number?
say maybe 200 people, if that,
I think that's reasonable.
because
Huh.
all we see is the same people. It's like it's like an Irish Cheers on an island. Everybody knows everybody's name.
Even the goats speak,
Right.
and I like that shot too with the goats. Like just one was behind the other. I think it was a black goat and a white goat, right?
Right. It's a black and yeah.
I wonder if that had anything to do with as far as symbolism between Colin and Padre.
That's actually pretty interesting because of the fact that you would actually think that Colin might be the black sheep, well, black goat of the family instead of the black sheep of the family.
Hmm.
Then you have the other one who's just basically a loner.
That's true. I mean, and see, that's the thing about Colin Farrell's performance too. It's just a likable guy. I have no. I would hang out with Padre. You know, I mean, he's chilling, having a great day, smiling. Another funny scene. he's, I believe he's saying, "Good morning, Officer Courtesy." Never says hello. Never fucking says hello.
My other thing that Colin does though is this: he goes into the dude's house,
Yes.
and I'm like, no wonder why he doesn't want anything to do with you. Just go up in your friend's house, play with his
Invading everything.
mask. Then you're over there with his looking through. You know what I'm talking about? Basically,
Oh,
the, the
yes.
telescope, and seeing where he's going. He goes, "What are you going after?" And I'm like, so
Why you in my house, man?
right.
Oh man.
But still, man, this film is fantastic. I watched it twice since, and it has a rewatchability because there's certain things that you might miss
Mm-hmm.
within it
That,
because of the Irish accents. And a matter of fact, I recommend anybody watching it with subtitles if you because those Irish uh, dialogue is very thick.
yes, definitely. I would even. Mm, I watched the first, maybe the first hour of this movie 4 times already. Just because when I was getting ready to do my rewatch, I wanted to be sure that I finished the whole thing. I mean, I finished the whole thing the first time around. But work, keep falling asleep. It's like, darn it, I start over, start over, just so I can get on point with everything. But I do think, I think this is a really good movie. Um, I don't think it's best picture worthy, like you said. But the question is, does Colin Farrell? I mean, obviously we know he'll get a nomination, but do you think he'll win?
I don't think so.
Mm, I'm gonna agree with you. I enjoyed his performance. I did. Um, I just didn't see like best actor written all over it. You know.
No, I definitely don't see Best Actor on this one because normally when you look at Oscars and the way they view Oscars is this: they go for dramatization and also to different characters that people play. makeup, just all around is a different atmosphere. And I get the fact that what they were doing with this and everything is shooting for like a November slot to open this up for the Oscars. But at the same time, this is not like Best Picture worthy to me. And I have to see what the list actually looks like whenever they come out with the picks they have.
Yeah.
Before I say which ones are which, because I actually did an Oscar prediction show last year, and I was like, well, it's going to be the Mule, and it's not going to be the Mule.
How was that movie, by the way?
I don't know, but I didn't watch it. But but I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I said no to that though. And
So, have you checked it out? No.
because number one, it's not my kind of movie or whatever. I tried watching it. It just didn't like. I tried watching 10 minutes of it.
Old man taking narcotics across the border.
Well, good for him.
If Walter White survived, make the Clint Eastwood age.
Oh my god! But here's why though that this movie didn't make it for the Oscars though. It had a lot of going against it. You had the director that was in the heat of trouble because remember all that stuff that was coming out with the director. Then you also am I thinking of the same one?
I haven't heard anything about Martin McDonogh.
About the Cowboys and stuff like that. About this one of the it was like a big controversy thing I think for the Mule.
No, I did
I
not
think.
see the Mule.
I think I'm thinking. Isn't okay? Never mind. Not that one. I'm thinking of a different one. I'm sorry. It's the one where you actually have Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie.
Oh, or The Imitation Game.
No, not that one. Anyways, I said that that movie. What Benedict? It's The Power of the Dog. That's it.
Oh, that movie was. Oh,
I was like, well, The Power of the Dog is going to win Best Picture. I said, no, it's not. They was like, well, why not? I said, number one, controversial. I went back to the time when Wolf of Wall Street was controversial, and that didn't win the Oscars at all.
At all? Does it get nominated for anything?
Nope. Didn't even get nominated.
Wow, I'm gonna have to do some. We're gonna have to talk about that off camera.
That was a controversial movie.
Okay.
Because of the stuff that was surrounding it. Because the actual person that Jordan Belfort, I think that was his name, the real guy, was actually going after them. I think because he didn't like the way that he was being perceived on screen.
Well, I mean, you kind of did the things that you did on screen, so I don't understand.
But that was one of the things that I had against it. So with the Mule, you have the director. He was taking some heat. Then you had this other stuff that was going on within it. I'm like, no, this is not going to get it. And then I'm like, whenever I saw Coda, I'm like, Coda's going to make it. I was like, really? Why Coda? I said, it's getting a lot of buzz around festivals. Not only is it getting a lot of stuff around festivals, but because this is a very different Oscar type movie. Mm-hmm. Usually they go after dark and depressing films. This was not a dark and depressing film.
Mm. What, this one?
No, not this one was. But I'm talking about Coda. Coda was not a dark and depressing film. And it won the Academy Awards.
I still had to see that one.
It was good. It was really good.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely have to see Coda. The buzz on it was ridiculous, and it came out of left field.
Right.
Because it seemed that everyone else, like Dune was, I thought Dune would be the front runner, but that was not the case.
No. But I was thinking Dune was gonna do something, and it didn't really do much.
Just the technical stuff, if anything.
Right.
Which
but
I see for this movie, you know. Go ahead, please.
But Banshees of Inisherin is probably one of my favorite films of 2022 to watch. because of the fact that if you're just looking for two friends bickering and wondering why the other friend doesn't want to be friends with him, and that's the whole center point, and then looking at us at the sister who's all for Colum, and then even she gets sick and tired of Colum and goes off and tells him, "Hey, look, come live with me. You won't have to worry about anything. You won't have to be in this small town anymore. You can." He goes, "Nah, that's not the life for me."
That's true. John, you're good. There's gonna be so many bloopers in this video. I feel it already.
It's okay.
You know, but yes, Banshees is definitely one of my favorites of this past year. I don't see the best picture for it. Love Colin Farrell, but I don't think he. I think if I don't even know if Brendan Gleeson gets anything. I mean, if anyone, if there's a nomination to be had for this movie, I could see the score. I'm not really the fan. I'm not the biggest fan of the score in this movie, but I could see how it could get nominated. Cinematography for sure. I definitely could see Best Director for Martin McDonogh, Best Original Screenplay, uh, maybe even maybe costume design. Maybe. I mean, it's very simple, but I think it's possible. Oh, lower the camera. There we go.
Okay, so right now, there are some predictions for Best Picture. I don't know if you want to go through this or do a separate show for this, but
um, you know what? Maybe one last final thing before we close. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
yeah. So you ready? Or
Let's do it. Everything Everywhere All at Once should be walking away as the winner.
okay, so this is just stuff off of Variety right now,
Mm-hmm.
but Top Gun Maverick. Then you got the Fablemans.
Still have to see that one.
Me too. The Banshees of Inisherin, which they have listed that's their predictions. Everything Everywhere All at Once needs to win.
Yes, that one.
If
is
not
Top
Best
Gun Maverick.
Picture, Best Actor.
Say again.
Huh?
Who's on the list for Best Actor?
The actor that played on let's see here. Danielle Cohen.
So Daniel Kaluuya.
Hold on one second.
Okay. Very curious. Very curious as to what this list is. And John is just typing away, definitely doing the research with no problem whatsoever. He twiddles his fingers.
Okay. So Daniel Cohen is actually what I was thinking.
Okay.
Because isn't he the one who played in the Goonies?
Oh, Ki Hui Kwan.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. He might walk away. I think he's going to walk away with that Best Supporting Actor.
He needs to walk away with an Oscar because of the stuff that he went through and not getting a call all that time, and then finally a movie that was for him. He needs to win.
20. I watched the Actors Roundtable. 25 years since he was casted in something. He said he decided to try his hand at behind the camera work. Went to film school, and then eventually that day, one day he got that call. Hey, we got something for you. Let's do it. And look at this, guys. The world is his oyster right now. You're definitely going to see a resurgence of him. He's going to be popping up in a lot of stuff in the future. Like,
I think so too. I'm hoping because that's actually going to put his name back on the map again.
Yeah.
Then we also have a movie called Tar, which I haven't even heard of.
That the Kate Blanchett. I haven't watched it. I know a lot of people are praising it, but I've heard one person in particular call it very extremely bland and flavorless. And it's just like, listen, I love Kate Blanchett. She's one of my favorite actors. But I feel like the Academy, and I was talking to Frenchie earlier about this. So I feel like the Academy. Here we go. Yes. It's not giving the fairness.
I heard everything you said.
You heard everything I said. Oh, well, perfection. See, this is why they should hire us. We'll do the commentary for the Oscars, no problem whatsoever. We'll give them a reason as to
This
why
is an example of why you don't hire us.
Mike's going out, production things falling apart. The boom mic just fell from the ceiling.
And then we keep on just going. Like nothing even happened.
Like
But
nothing even happened without a trace. Oh man. But see, the thing is though, um, as much as I have to see the movie to really even judge it, but I truly feel like, to me, all year.
mhm.
And here we are again. I've returned. I think Daniel Deadweiler should be the winner for two. That Michelle Yeoh was my front runner for the longest time after I saw Everything Everywhere. Like ever since February, she was my choice. Then October comes along, and Daniel Deadweiler kills it as maybe Till Mobley. Yeah, her performance was dynamic. There's not enough talk being had about her. So um, I feel like that should definitely be addressed.
I
Um,
think so too.
you know,
Then we got Elvis,
absolutely.
Black Panther, All Quiet on the Western Front,
For what
and
category?
then, well, I'm just naming off the predictions.
Oh,
But
for the front runners. Okay.
yeah, but this is not even the official list. And then they're going with The Wheel and Living.
Mm. Living with that Bill Nye.
Elizabeth Carlson and Stephanie Woolen. Stephen Woolen, I mean.
Okay. Mm. All right. Well, I tell you what. I definitely think Austin Butler is going to walk away with Best Actor. Had just became Elvis. That was the performance.
Hmm.
That was the performance of the year.
And I'm just going to go on for this. There's a difference between doing impressions and there's a such thing as someone that embodies Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
He embodied Elvis. He was not doing an Elvis impression. He ended up becoming Elvis. I actually forgot that he was even Austin Butler. I thought that was actually legitimately Elvis. Now, there might be a couple of little small things like I mentioned before with the soundtrack and stuff like that. Whenever you're mixing the modern day music in with the Elvis music, it
Mm-hmm.
pulls me out a little bit. But as far as his performance goes and not going off of the Best Picture nom, I think that he's going to walk away with Elvis.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Um, yeah, he's got that. And every chance I get to tell somebody, watch this movie. It's so good, and his performance is ridiculous. Like it, he said I think he studied for maybe a year and a half leading up to that role, and then I think before everything started, there was another script rewrite, and then he had to be on set the next week. Jeez, man,
That's
everything
impressive.
exactly. It's he hired a dialect coach, a voice coach, a movement coach, everything he could to get ready and learn like this is what I have to do for this role. It's commendable.
Definitely.
Has to watch.
But but yeah, this is to me. I'm just going off back on our review a little bit, and then But I think that this film is really good. I recommend anybody to go out and watch this film if they're able to. If not, watch it on HBO Max because you're in for a treat. This movie pulls on your heartstrings. It's about two friendships and a war going on at the same time, while also trying to focus in on their friendship. And then it seems like at the very end of it, to me, and this is just from my perspective, once the film ends with them two standing outside watching the cannons not go off anymore, their
Mhm.
friendship kind of settles down a little bit to where there's no storm. Like in other words, is there's a calm before the storm for the next time when they actually not when they do this again, because it seems like that they're destined to do this forever.
This is a dance that will consistently happen. And yeah, their friendship, I think it definitely ended. I see what you mean there. Podrick definitely is still very sore by the
Yep.
end. Even though he burned his house, just like I still the way you treated me. all this time for what? And then you'll finally apologize after all this damage was done. You know, no, absolutely hats off. This is a great, great movie. One of the great films of 2022. Loved it, and like John said, it definitely has a lot of rewatchability. Um, the dark humor, if you're into it, you'll enjoy it. If you appreciate cinematography, you'll enjoy this movie. The greens, the blues that pop out at you, the nature and landscapes. It's a gorgeous movie to look at all the way through.
Yeah, most definitely. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and so on that note, John, where can you tell people where they can find
Well, you guys can also find me at Movie Loves Unite on.
Here we go.
You can find me on Movie Loves Unite on our YouTube channel tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to be doing our Last of Us episode 1 review. I actually have Dawn coming in, which is mine and Josh's good friends. So he's coming in on there. Also, too, I also have ACS Universe from his YouTube channel coming in. I also have In the Front Row coming in. She's going to be on there.
Awesome.
So, and then also my friend Tamika, she's going to be on there. And so, yeah, we're having a roundtable discussion on The Last of Us.
I like it. But here's my question. Why not The First of Us?
Because there's only can be one.
I have the high ground. Oh man, guys, this was fun. John will definitely be back around here. We've talked before about doing a retro review. I have not forgotten. We're going to talk about Shawshank Redemption at some point, and that out. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. That was not nominated for an Oscar. It's insane.
It got snubbed for Forrest Gump.
Yes, got snubbed.
And I get this. If you go over to my channel, you can actually watch, or you can go over to the podcast and listen to my interview with the casting director from Shawshank Redemption.
You heard that, folks. This man spoke to the casting director of Shawshank Redemption. This man, John, is one of the all-time great. I'm telling you, listen, I don't care what anyone says, all right? I understand that we all have our channels to build, and that we all have a chance to rise up. But John is one of the YouTubers you should not sleep on. Freaking phenomenal.
Thank you.
Great channel, great content. Like I said, great mentor, great friend.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
For sure, my friend, for sure. And he's all the way in Mississippi. And it feels like I've known him since we were kids. All right. This guy's brother. All right. Welcome to the Midnight Pack, sir. Definitely a partner.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You must howl with us, my friend.
No, you do not want that. No, if I was still out of the country, on the other hand, I could say yes. But I have neighbors now. So. And then my wife is in the next room. Our walls are very hollow. And she's trying to put her son to bed.
Can't go around howling like that.
But before we cut out, by the way, you and I got in trouble one time when she was trying to put him to bed because we were so loud.
Oh, jeez. Listen, we couldn't help that Pinocchio was that damn funny. Oh man, nah, John, this was great, man. I can't wait to have you back over here on the channel for another review. I know 2023 is gonna have a lot in store, so definitely be tag teaming a lot of these reviews, man. Follow John, definitely everywhere. Guys, you know where you can find me on Instagram at Midnight Cinema 41. You can find me on Twitter at the Outlaw Mind.
Why do you look like you're laying down doing an R&B album with Boys to Men?
That's what I'm feeling right now. It really feels like the atmosphere is going straight 90s for it because I am the new edition. I am greater than what is Joe and Jodeci because I want to know.
You're bigger than Casey and JoJo.
I shine brighter than Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Bigger than Genuine.
Bigger than Genuine, man. No ponies over here.
Oh my God. All right.
All right, guys. Remember, one pack, one nation.
Under God, invisible.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the midnights. To the midnight bites. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my!
Y'all gonna check me out at these here socials. I'll see you all in the next one. And by the way, make sure that you stay tuned for all types of content that I got going on at this here channel.
My God.
One pack, one nation, one smooth hell.